nouveau à Minneapolis. Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Everybody, welcome to Tempo Afrique, to our monthly show. This is Bolo, if I can get my mask off. And as you can see, we are wearing masks here, and we are trying to respect the social distancing. The topic today is biracial and cultural identity. And as you can see, as a healthcare provider, I have to remind everybody that's watching to please wear your mask and keep your social distancing and try to limit who you're going to have for your Thanksgiving celebration. It's very nice to celebrate with family and friends, but it's more important to have them be alive and be healthy. So it doesn't hurt to stay home just for this one year, hopefully. And then next year, hopefully, we can have vaccines and go back to having our get-togethering. So today, here for our topic, biracial and cultural identity, I am joined by two of my lovely co-workers, colleagues and friends, Adrienne Hargest on my left and Jasmine Flowers on my right. Welcome. Yes, thank you. And before we start, we move on to the topic, I would like to present to you Bolo's Body Butter. I have here, it's hard to see, it's on the table, but I have Bolo's Body Butter new labels and containers, and I'm doing specials for the holidays, and we have Black Friday coming and Christmas time coming. We have different sizes, glass, both glass, and the containers that are plastic are recyclable. And I have the eye serum and the lip balms. We have a cream for muscle soreness and for hair growth and skin, of course. This time I'm giving some specials for people who buy more than two. And also know that 10% of the proceeds is going towards Cellal Africa. Cellal Africa is a non-profit organization that I created. I initiated with the help of many great people, and it's to provide health care and for women and children in Africa. Senegal, we started in Senegal now, but we're going to try to extend it to other African countries and some other countries that will need it. So please, we'll put that, I am on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll put the contact on the comments. Thank you. So Jasmine, welcome. Adrienne, welcome.
Thank you.
So as we said, our topic today is about biracial and culture. I'm going to start with Adrienne.
Okay.
So whoever is talking is going to remove their mask, and then the ones that are not talking will put on their mask so that we can keep the air back to us. So Adrienne, tell us, what are you mixed with?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Bolo and Jasmine. So I am mixed with African American and Native American, and my mother is white.
Thank you. How about you, Jasmine?
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I am, like Adrienne, mixed black and white. I actually did an ancestry DNA and found that, I don't know how accurate it is, but it said that I was majority Italian for the white side and Western African, so Nigerian, Togo, Ghana, on the other side. So.
Oh, maybe Senegal too.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe your cousins. So, yeah, that's great, and it's very common to see people who are mixed to be mixed with more than just one or two other cultures or ethnicities. So most of the time when you're young, in my past shows, we talked about that, like mixed kids a little bit, but I want to ask you the same question too. When you were young, when did you realize that you're different than one of your parents, that you're mixed? How did you realize that you were mixed?
I guess I didn't know I was mixed. Our parents, my parents. One thing I want to say is that Jasmine and I are not siblings, which a lot of people think we are, but we are not. But I want to let
you two look so much alike.
Yes, when I say our parents, my sister and I's mom and dad made us feel comfortable. But I guess probably when we moved to Minnesota is when I probably noticed it the most, when I was different from everybody else, being that most of our neighborhood in the school that we attended in elementary was all white.
When you say different from everyone else, are you talking about your family or talking about outside?
The community. The community. My family was probably the only person who wasn't white that lived in the neighborhood that my parents bought a home in. So we were the probably only persons of color in our neighborhood for maybe 5 to 10 years before somebody else moved in.
Where was it in Minnesota, and how old were you?
Burnsville, and we moved from California in 1990 when I was 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And one more question before I move to Jasmine. When you were in California, did you know that you mixed between the two parents, and did you live with both parents?
And that's a very funny thing, I think, because when we lived in California, we were predominantly raised in a black community. Our godmother helped raise us while my mom went to work, my dad went to work. But then when we moved to Minnesota, it was totally different, more white, less of the black community that we were put into, and just by circumstance.
Great. Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you. And I'll come back to that,
Yes.
you being in a neighborhood predominantly black. Jasmine, your turn. And while you're talking, I'm going to check Facebook so I can share on my page the live. Jasmine, when did you realize that you're mixed? And what age were you, and how did you find out that you were actually mixed?
Sure. Sorry. So I would probably say that I realized that I was mixed fairly sometime when I was able to talk and look into a mirror, and I realized that me and my mom looked totally different. Unlike some people, I didn't really grow up with my biological father, so I was raised by my mother, and she ended up marrying a Caucasian man. So majority of my family that I grew up with are white. So I would probably say it was around that age, maybe 3. I don't know. I was pretty young, and I do remember saying, Mommy, we don't look alike. So that was.
So were your dad around? You were raised by
just
both
primarily my mother and my stepfather.
And your stepfather is white, so you're the only black in the household.
I do have one other brother who's 10.5 months older than me. We have the same mom and dad.
Okay.
So he would be my only other sibling that is biracial.
Okay. And then the rest of the family had both mom and dad who were white.
Exactly.
Oh,
including my stepbrother as well. He's also white. So.
I have a family like that. Dusty, if you're listening, hi, who has a white kid, and everybody else is biracial. And their dad is Aaron's cousin, my husband's cousin. Yeah. So Malik, I don't know if you live on Facebook yet. I haven't seen it yet. So if you're listening, maybe we can start the live on Facebook. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next question. Adrienne, when you said that you grew up in a predominantly black community, so that takes us to one of the other questions that I have. Did you feel like you fit in? Did you feel like you look black, or you were black when you were within the black? Because you're very light skinned, and obviously you're mixed. So how did you feel being around all black?
So when I was younger, it didn't affect me because I didn't know. I was 5, 6 years old, so I didn't know any different. As I got to be older, that's when I noticed that there was a difference. I would say most of my friends were white. I don't know that I personally feel I wasn't accepted by a lot of the black students once I got older, just because I probably identified more as in the white culture than the African American culture. So I don't know, and it's even hard sometimes going home to my dad's side of the family in Texas and trying to fit in because I hate to say it, but people like to say you don't act a certain way, and I just try to be however my parents raised me, and that's the way I am. But to some folks, doesn't matter white, black, blue, purple. If I don't act that way, I don't necessarily fit into their culture.
So what you said is your mom and dad raised you just in your family culture. But when you get out and you go to the predominantly black culture, you feel a little bit rejected, thinking that you don't act the same or you don't talk the same, therefore you're not fitting in.
Yeah, there are times, and then there's other times where that's not the case. I think it's just dependent on the folks that I'm around at that time, but I tend to just stick to whomever likes me, for me.
Do you have an example of somebody saying something to you that sticks to you that you can still remember that affected you?
I know what I probably noticed that I was a little bit different was in the 4th grade when I heard somebody, and I've never used the word, they called me the N-word in 4th grade, and I told the teacher. I didn't know the significance of it. I didn't know how bad it actually really was. My sister and our parents pretty much shielded us from a lot of things. Like, I don't know, I kind of feel like we were, oh, no problem. I just felt like we just kind of kept floating along and everything's fine, don't worry about it. But when that young man called me the N-word, then it kind of stuck out to me that there was something different about me that, I don't know. And it was only him. And I know somebody else did it to my sister at a later date, but that's the only time I felt kind of, so to speak, threatened. Not really threatened, because I wasn't threatened by a 4th grade boy, but at least felt different.
Well, at 4th grade level, you may be, at that age.
I just knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how wrong that really was.
And you may not understand what that means.
Right. Right.
Yeah. This is why we're doing this show, because, like you said, you were with the black people, and they were saying you're not black enough, and now you're with white people, and they're calling you N-word. And now where do you fit in?
Right.
So Jasmine, did you have any of the experience like that growing up, or even now?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say we probably had similar stories, but opposite. When you had asked her, actually I don't remember exactly how you asked her, but I have never felt like I fit in with my white side.
Yeah, but the question, if you want to know, was that we talked about when you realized how you were black, and then how do you feel? I mean, is there any way that made you feel anything when you're around black people and then when you're around white people?
Okay, absolutely. So I think that similar to Adrian, I had some experiences with folks where I knew it was going to be a little bit rocky, and that I was different, and I would say I was pretty young, maybe 1st or 2nd grade. I think 2nd grade. I actually had lived in Arkansas, in Searcy, Arkansas, and the school was almost entirely white, and staff, students, and then there was one.
You're the only.
Me and my brother, and then in my class there was one Latino girl, and we were not allowed to sit with the other kids in class.
The two of you?
Yes, we had to sit in the far corner. At lunchtime, we had to sit at our own separate table. when it was recess, we had to play on our own, which we didn't really have anywhere to play. We basically played on the trees and just like in the grass. We could not play with the white students. So I think then I realized, and I was also a girl who was like, why does your hair look like that? Like, it's not cute. And I just remember being like, oh, wow, you know, that was really hurtful. I guess I really am different. Granted, I did grow up, you know, with my white family, but my mom always reminded me and my brother, Walter, that the world was going to treat us differently. And I remember her telling us that from very, very young. Like, people are not going to be nice to you like they are me, or, you know, maybe some of your cousins, you know. So that really prepared me. And then, as far as which culture I feel...
Wait, I mean, I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm just so, like... I'm moved by the experience that you had, and it's just like breaking my heart to hear a little girl say, you know, saying that she was put separately, not sitting with or not playing with the other kids. And how old were you at that time?
So I think it was 93, 94. So I was 7.
And did they tell you why?
No, they didn't tell us why. We didn't ask. And I wasn't living with my mother at the time, so
nobody
I didn't know
was...
who to ask, and it's kind of just like you're embarrassed. You don't really want to bring it up. You're just like, well, this is just my reality. You know, I have at least one person to play with and to talk to. So, but I think now that I'm older, I'm carrying like the trauma. Maybe you can feel the same way, like with me, just because, you know, nobody talks about those things. So, like now, I'm like, wow, that was really wrong. You know, that was not okay. And I'm sure it affects me in ways that I don't know now.
Of course,
you know?
Of course. And that's why we are talking about it, because it's still happening in some places. And that's why, hopefully, if teachers are listening, they will not, and I know so many teachers that are friends that will never do something like that. And the teachers that, somebody who knows a teacher that tend to do like that, talk to them, because that's wrong, and it can, she was 7 and she's still remembering it. That means it really affected her. And you are a beautiful girl, both of you. You are very beautiful.
Thanks.
I don't know at that age why nobody wouldn't tell you you're beautiful and wanting to compliment your beautiful hair. And you were going on like experience around Black people.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, similar to Adrienne, her experiences, but I would say that mine's a little bit opposite in that I've never felt comfortable being around my white family, with my mom and dad being the exception, but like the family was always like, oh, that's our Black cousin. You know what I mean? That's my Black sister. And I don't think it was ill-intentioned, but I felt like I worked so hard growing up trying to be accepted, and I was always being told like, oh, that's our Black, you know, which is fine. Now that I'm older, that's how I identify. But I think that for me, I always, still to this day, have felt far more comfortable and at home being around Black folks than I do white. And I have friends of all races, but that's just for me personally. Like, nobody made it a point to make me feel included besides my, you know, my parents.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that we had that experience, and you're not just Black. You're Black and white, and Black is not you. So you know, you have a name and your own personality. So my Black cousin is not a right way to introduce somebody. And yeah, it just makes me sad to hear those. To hear your experiences. I can't even imagine going through that. I know in Senegal also it's the same. It's a different context, different culture, but it's kind of like the same concept. When somebody is mixed, they call them white in Senegal. They go like, you're a white person, or like they say, I want to introduce you to my Black friend. They'll say, I'm introducing you to my white cousin.
Yeah.
So, you know, and they don't fit either. So it's everywhere. The mixed kids are the most beautiful people ever. Everybody wants to look like them. You have your olive skin. You have you know, your big lips and curly hair. Everybody wants to be like that.
I think you're describing it, you know, a beautiful African American woman.
Well,
That's what I wish.
yeah, well, you mix, that's who you are. You're an African American woman, you represent African American women, but also you are white, you know, you have both. I just, it's, I don't know, it's a concept of racial profiling and, you know, colonization and all of that, that you have a drop of black, but you are black, therefore, but you are not just black, right? Right. So yeah, those are great answers and really very, very moving. So we're going to move on to the next question, which is how about everybody is characterizing you in a way, you know, if you go to the white community, they're calling you black friend or black cousin. If you go to the black community, they're calling you, you're not black enough. What do you think of yourself and how do you characterize yourself, your culture, yourself?
I guess that's kind of a hard question because I just am me. I'm not white, I'm not black. I don't know, I guess for tax purposes I'm black, but I mean, because you have to put something. But I don't, that's a really tough question, especially because I'm both or I'm all, and I just try to be me. Is that a bad answer?
No, it's a very good answer. Being you is very important and it's very empowering. You know, who cares about what somebody else thinks you are? You should be the one you think you are. Right. And also those forms that says you have to check, are you black, are you white? But your mom is white, your dad is black. What if you want to be your mom? What if you want to be identified like your mom's culture? Or what if you want to be your dad? And is there anything in between? Why do you have to be one or the other? But you may check white, but then when you show up, they'll go like, you're lying. Right. But if they look at your genes, there's white in there. Exactly. So yeah, being yourself is the best answer. How about you, Jasmine?
Okay. So I guess like how I identify, if you were to say like biologically, I tell people, you know, I'm biracial, but I don't identify with my.
Can you check your yes, move it in the middle. Oh. A little bit in the middle. Just pinch it, yeah.
So for me, my identity, I would say that I identify more as being black. I don't feel like I'm not in any way trying to be mean or hurt anybody in my family. I just don't feel, I don't connect with anything really in the white culture. I never have, and I'm tired of trying to fit in. So, but to me, my identity is more than, like Adrian said, just, you know, my ethnicity or my race. But if you want to know the truth, I am proud to be black. I'm also proud of, you know, my roots on both sides, but I primarily identify as black. That's where I feel at home. So that's for me personally.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if you answered that question before. When you are around black people,
yes,
how are you being treated and how do you feel?
Oh yeah, so I would say that I've always been treated nice. Now that I am older, I have a relationship with my biological father, and he's the youngest of 21 kids.
Wow.
And
a lot of cousins.
Yeah, lots of cousins. I did know some of them when I was younger, but now I've gotten to know majority of them, and never heard any comments like, oh, you know, that's my mixed cousin or my biracial cousin.
So you're a mixed cousin when you go to the black people?
No, I'm not. I'm just Jasmine.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of them.
Okay.
It's like, it's wonderful, actually.
Do you have other mixed cousins?
I do have a few, yes.
Okay.
I do have.
Do you feel like you connect more together than the ones that are not mixed, or is it, or it doesn't matter?
I wouldn't say, no.
Okay.
But I can definitely tell that for them, maybe they probably feel a little more comfortable, like my mixed cousins when I'm around, just because, you know. But I don't feel any sort of discomfort being around my black side of the family. So.
Good. And I remember I like, I wear this turban a lot because it's kind of like its identity, and it represents my culture, represents my where I'm from. So I proudly wear it. I know 3 or 4 years ago, if you get out wearing this, you may be attacked. You may be called, terrorists. You may be called to go back to Iraq or wherever. But this is my culture. This is my identity, and I take pride in it.
Yeah.
And I saw you on your Facebook. You had a picture which is on our flyer too. You have a very nice, head tie that you have on it. And why did you have that on? What made you try to put that on? But it looks very beautiful. I love it. But I want to know what makes you, motivate you to do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
It's okay. You're working. You're working.
I would say that, for years when I was younger, I was so embarrassed of my hair, especially after that girl made that comment, that I, would always want to wear my hair straight, and I've just lost so much hair. But as I've gotten older and getting to know more about the whole me, and my black side, to me, my hair is really important, and also learning new ways of doing my hair and just kind of going back to the roots is really, really important to me. And so that's why I wanted to do it, and it took me forever to learn. And so I was just so proud that I did it, and I just felt like this really huge sense of relief and happiness, honestly. I just felt really good. I felt like this is me.
Well, it looked beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. You look like my cousin Senegalese.
Yay!
Yeah, very, very, very nice discussion, and I really enjoyed listening to you guys. And also, one more thing, what would you advise moms who have mixed race kids, and what would you advise those little girls that look like you and who go to the school and probably having the same experience? And the teachers too. What would you tell them, because they're the adults that are around those little kids, saying those things and doing those things.
Funny, Jasmine mentioned about the hair. Seriously, luckily my mom was very good at doing our hair and making sure we looked presentable, because I think oftentimes kids who are mixed, and it's not right, wrong, or indifferent, but a lot of times the moms who are white don't know how to do the hair. So just taking the time to
Dusty, do you hear that?
I mean, just, taking the time. That's what my mom did. She just learned, and she braided, she conditioned, and just making the child feel beautiful, because we do unfortunately have a lot of hair, and
I wish I had your hair.
There's a lot. We both have a lot. But just, because I think a lot of times, or at least what I've seen, kids are out and they may look disheveled, and I think it's just a lack of knowledge of how to do hair. And I know that's not really the question, but I know that's what I see, and I know then that's a perception that other moms or dads go, ooh, that child's not being taken care of, and that's not really the case. It's just that our hair is very hard to deal with. Anybody of African culture has difficult hair.
The same issues, yep. I have the same problem with my daughter.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a very good comment. And what do you? So one of the things, if I may understand, is that to tell the parents to try to learn to do the hair and to to make the kids look presentable.
And then they maybe don't feel as alienated because they have this hair that's just wild or doesn't appear to be taken care of, but it may be, but that's just how the mom knows how to do, or the dad knows how to do the hair.
Yep. One of the things that I do for my daughter, who obviously has hair that it's beautiful, but you have to keep doing it or it's going to break, we can't just keep it like that every day. But I showed her a lot of Fulani people. We are Fulani in Senegal. I don't know if you know the Fulani braid that Kim Kardashian started here and Alicia Keys wears them. Those are Fulani braids.
Okay.
And I show her Fulani people with the braids and I put them on her and she feels beautiful. She says, I feel like I am a Fulani now. I feel beautiful. So yeah, do things that make them feel proud and look at the mirror and feel pretty. It doesn't matter what anybody says outside. If they feel pretty inside, that's going to keep carrying them.
Right.
And to the little girls, what do you tell them?
Just being a nice girl. You know, my parents always instilled that we should be nice little girls. One thing my godmother always said was nobody likes a loud girl. So staying low key, and and that's for anybody. You know, but just not shouting from the world that I'm here, look at me, and I don't know, just being you. And so I've always I know with my godmother, always not being a loud girl, to be standing out for anybody to say, look at her, she's wild, she's inappropriate, whatever. And
yeah, and your godmother is black, right?
Yes.
And black people are afraid to be judged because when you voice your opinion, you characterize as being loud
and angry,
even if it's not. So and that should have maybe parameters and limits on how much you can tell your child don't talk or don't be loud. If there's something that they need to speak up, they shouldn't be afraid to speak up.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't be afraid to raise their voice. I mean to
speak their points.
To speak their voice.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because when you said that, I knew it's coming from the black lady because they try to tell people once you try to say your mind, then you're characterized as an angry black girl or black woman. When if it's a white girl who's trying to raise their opinion and stuff, it's listened, it's validated, but. Yeah, that should change too. You can be nice, but then if something is bothering you, it's okay to say it.
Yes.
It's okay to talk to somebody and it should be listened to. Thank you, Adrienne.
Yeah, thanks.
Great analysis. How about you, Jasmine?
If I remember correctly, the question is what would I say to moms, right?
To moms and to little girls.
And to little girls, okay.
Of mixed, race.
Okay. So I feel like, my mom did the absolute best she could, and I'm just super grateful for her trying. I know I was a difficult child. So I was very ADD and very tomboyish, so her trying to do my hair, she tried. But what I would say for, white moms with mixed children is before you even consider having biracial children, I think it's really important that you do the work and be committed to raising your children to know both sides, because it's really difficult growing up and doing it as an adult because you already have so many different emotions and belief systems. So I think you're doing a service to your children by being willing to teach them about both yours and your partner's her husband's culture. I think that's really, really important. I definitely do think sticking in there and trying to, do the hair. And if you're mostly around your white family, try to go to events where there's other black folks. I think it's really important to integrate, like I said, both cultures. I just think that's really, really important for your child to have a healthy view of themselves.
Right. Yes, very.
Oh, sorry. And then I was also just going to say, and for little girls, I would just, whenever I see little biracial kids, I just want to give them a hug because I know that it's hard. It's not maybe as hard as to be another race, but I know that, you feel alone just because you don't talk about, having both sides. Yeah. So I just think that, telling them, you're beautiful and everything's going to be okay. For me, that's what I like to say. So.
Yeah. One of my Facebook friends had posted an article about a rapper. I can't remember the name, but I can tell you the story because it's kind of similar. two little girls that were in elementary school in a private school in New York. And one of them, she said, was very pretty, and she tried to sit in this table, and the girls, the popular girls, told her, you can't sit here. And she got very sad and tried to sit somewhere else. And this other girl who's in, I think she's in 4th grade, the other one was in 3rd grade, the one that was rejected. She walked to her and said, don't worry about what these girls are saying. You have a lot of potentials. You're very beautiful. And that just kept her going, became her motivation to the point where now her album was like in the award charts and stuff. And she just made a song about that encounter, naming it after the girl that told her she's beautiful.
Okay.
So she kind of like sang it in a song, and then they reconnected after that. She said, the words that you told me helped me be where I am today. So like you said, it's very important to empower those girls and to show them love and to tell them that you are beautiful and you can do it. So yes, I always pick on Dusty. Dusty is my my husband's cousin's wife, who's white and with biracial kids. And Dusty went to YouTube and she braided her daughter's hair, and it looked very nice.
Good.
And they have been doing their hair tie too, and she always sends me pictures and says, Jonah looks like Auntie Bolo. So good job, Dusty.
Yes, good job.
So yeah, just you guys are doing a good job advising parents who have biracial kids at a young age to help them be exposed to both cultures so they can form their own culture, and so they can be comfortable around both and help identify themselves. Last time, my last show, I had two white women who adopted black kids, and that's the same thing that they were talking about. You have to, as a parent, you have to know that your life has changed. It's not just about you as a privileged white woman. Now you have a black child, so you have to be prepared to protect that child, to be prepared to help that child walk that walk. So it's a commitment with love, and it's life. It's just like a different kind of life. It's not that hard to do. It's a different kind of life, but it's life, and it helps the child form their self-esteem and motivate them through life.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. So anything else? I mean, we know that everybody knows about American culture being leading towards melting pot. And melting pot is not only just people like me who came from other countries, from everywhere, Asia, Africa, and Europe, and everywhere, but also when I was in Senegal, when we talk about the melting pot, it's about you guys, like mixing of black and white and Indians, and have that race that is in the middle, which is very beautiful. And you know, hopefully it would unite America, because, you know, the white supremacists, we have white here, we have black here, but if you have family in between, why can't they bring you together and make you one? So what do you think of that?
I think we're a long way from that, unfortunately. I think we're a long way from, it's so sad nowadays, from us all loving each other. Going back to Jasmine in her elementary, even today, where my dad's from in Texas, still segregation, especially with their funeral homes. There's a white funeral home and a black funeral home. It's just like an unwritten rule. You know, you don't go to this one if you're black.
What if the person is a mixed person between the black and white?
You go to the black. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to change that. It's going to take, I think, even more years, unfortunately, especially in the South. It's still very their way or no way, and we don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of new views. You know, it's how it's always been, and this is how it's going to be. And I don't know. I'm hopeful that things will change and everybody loves one another, but it's going to be a while.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I think. What do you think, Jazz?
I'm learning a lot. Jasmine.
I'm so sorry. I would agree that I think, you know,
I love your Africa earrings.
Yes.
Ooh, African queen. You have African queen here.
That's you, Dr. Bolo.
Can you show them on the camera so people can see?
Oh,
Just
yes.
even angle. Those are so beautiful. Madam Bella, if you're listening, look at those earrings.
My fiance's mother bought them for me. She's black.
It's so beautiful.
Oh, but to answer the question, I agree with Adrian. I feel like, it's been 400 plus years since slavery. We're not that much further. And I just feel like, do I think that, the integration of, white and black people making children is going to solve anything? Absolutely not. They haven't solved things themselves together, so I don't think having children is going to change. Also, I won't try to make this super long, but I also think that,
It's okay.
just the simple fact that you're in a relationship with someone of a different ethnicity or race doesn't mean that you're changing your friend group, or it doesn't mean that you're trying to engage.
Doesn't mean that you're not racist.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that you're not racist.
Yeah.
So I feel like that doesn't mean things are going to change. I feel like just like we need to start talking more about biracial identity and the psychology of that, we also need to start the conversation about how we can move forward with race. I know that the country is super divided, and now is a good time to start the conversation.
That's very true.
That's the only way things are going to change. People want to avoid it by arguing on social media, but the real work means coming together. We just have to start the conversations and be willing to change. Because we see communities like Minneapolis where people can get along when you have all these different races in close proximity. You get to understand one another, and that fear is taken away or it's, subsided.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem, is that people want to stay apart.
Yes.
And we just, that's the only way things are going to change. But it's going to take a long time, which is sad, but we're starting right here.
That is so true. That is so true. And I love South Minneapolis. It's my favorite place because everybody there is pretty much progressive and accepting and loving, and I always tell them that. And it's a lovely community and neighborhood. Yes, you're right. We have to start doing something to change that, and that's why we have this show. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. Nobody doesn't want to talk about it. Everybody wants to be comfortable by avoiding it, but just watching things keep happening. But in this show, we are attacking the white elephant. That's why we're talking about this. And ladies, thank you so much.
Thanks.
I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate you are being open to talk about your very, very painful experience that I felt it. And I'm sure people who are watching also felt it. And I'm hoping that everybody who's listening, if they see something, they should say something, and they should make a change. Those little girls or little boys, they have future, and one nice word of kindness can make a difference in their lives. So let's not watch them suffer by something that they have nothing to do with. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And don't forget to buy Bolo's Body Butter.
Yes.
I have the holiday specials. If you buy more than 2, you have 10% off. Oh, I was going to forget, but I can't. This is a very, very, very nice raffia bag from a friend of mine who sells these online. It's, what's the website name? It's artsanluma.com. I can put it on the comment, and I'll put pictures in the comments too. She donated this bag to my nonprofit organization, Cellal Africa, cellal.com, which is a nonprofit organization that helps with women's health, women and children health in Senegal. So when she donated this bag, I sold it half price, which is $20. This is $40 only. It's made in Madagascar. It's very beautiful. It can be a beach bag. See, it's handmade. It's knitted. So with some kind of like leaves or something, and this is fabric, and then here it's I don't know what fabric is this one, but it can be beach bag, it can be something that you can take to work every day. It fits a lot of things. It can be even a diaper bag. It's $40, and now she has bunch that she's selling. If anybody buys them with these creams, they'll have percentage of the creams, and then $5 of every bag that sells will be donated to Chalal Africa. So if you are interested, there will be a lot of different colors. I'll put them in the comments. Let me know, and I'll hook you up with her. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to add before we leave?
I just want to say thank you.
You're very welcome.
I was also going to say too that eventually in the future I am going to write some books on biracial identity. So
Aww.
be on the lookout.
Okay. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yes, we need that. We need books, we need movies, we need talks.
Yep.
And I'm sure that book is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to read it. It's going to be one of our book clubs.
Yes.
How about you, Adrian?
I appreciate the opportunity. I don't know. I just wonder about your family. Is there anything with your daughter and your son that they're also biracial, so to speak? So have you noticed anything with your daughter or son?
Well, it's the same experience. I mean, they're not like directly biracial. I mean, the biculture.
Biculture.
My husband is from here. I'm from Senegal. You know, the adventures that they have is they really identify with my culture. They kind of like fish energy and motivation from me, from my culture, and their dad is very supportive, and he's not. I mean, he probably has the experience growing up too. I think he did, him and his brother and sister. But he's trying to coach them to he's doing more than I do. I'm raising them as if we're in Senegal. But my husband is teaching my kids and telling them every day, believe in yourself, you are beautiful, and this and that. And like I said, I advocate for my kids. If I see something that needs to be said, I will say it. If I see something that needs to be done, I'll do it. You know, I get along with all the teachers that I have. You know, we have great relationship. But if I see something, I talk to my kids when they come back from school, and I like to have a discussion and ask, what happened today? How's your friends? If they tell me something that I feel like, oh, then I have to investigate what that is to make sure. And I talk to my daughter always and tell her my side and tell her this is how I see you, and that's who you are, and that's what you should hold on to you, because you are beautiful, you are strong, and you're from a very great family. So have that in your mind. I always empower them, and I hope that will help. But the way I was raised, that's how I'm trying to raise them.
Oh, good.
But they do see the difference. My daughter used to call her white friends, my friend is Peach.
Oh,
her skin is peach.
It's actually cute. It's very innocent.
I love my friend's skin. She's peach. She's and she's she likes her braids. So that's it's just a work in progress, one day at a time.
But it's at that time it's very innocent of her. You know, she just saying it as it is.
Yeah, I just laughed and I said, "Yep, they are peach. She's very beautiful." Yeah.
Sorry.
So, thank you so much, ladies, for coming. I appreciate you, and it was great having you. You're so beautiful, and I know, Jasmine, you're finishing your degree in social work, right? And social workers are needed. You're going to do great in helping those kids and doing something else. And Adrian is a great nurse, and nurses are also great in helping. You know, healthcare is another problem. We have school, we have healthcare. They both have problems. So
they do.
You can represent in the healthcare and helping. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody. And also I have to remind you again, as a provider, we need to wear our mask all the time. We need to keep social distancing 6 feet away. And please stay home for Thanksgiving. Oh, I was going to give tips about cooking. I will post a video on the gumbo that I was talking about. I was not growing up eating the gumbo that I have here. We have something different, which is okra soup. That's what we eat in Senegal. It's very delicious. It's slimy because it has a lot of okra. If you're not used to this texture, you may not like it. My husband doesn't eat it because he doesn't like okra, but I eat it, my kids eat it, and you add palm oil, it have that red, greenish color, and you have all seafood that you can think of, crab legs and shrimp and fish, and you can add meat if you want to. You can add smoked turkey, smoked fish, sausage maybe. I mean, we use beef, but you can add a lot of things in there and eat it with white rice. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what that idea that the slaves that came from Africa brought and turned it into gumbo, because gumbo is okra. So now the gumbo here, they have the filet, which is a powder of gumbo, but then they may add a little bit of okra that's hard, that's not slimy. Everybody does it differently. My mother-in-law, who passed away a month from now last year, introduced me to some of it, and I inherited her gumbo fillets, and I make a very, very, very nice gumbo that I did my style, Bolo's Kitchen. So I will post a video on it, and to help whoever wants to make it at home on Thanksgiving. If you can't cook or you can't go to your parents' house, you can watch the video, or if you want, we can do a live together where we can all cook together so that we can all have Thanksgiving together. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for all of you viewers. I'm thankful for everybody that's buying my creams and supporting my cause. I'm thankful for you too. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody, until next month again, let's be healthy and safe. Thank you.
You did it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I wasn't nervous at all.
See? I like this one. Yeah.
Nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.